a shakeup in the military, and now Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth has pushed out 3 generals during wartime. First, U.S. Army Chief of Staff General Randy George was ordered to retire yesterday, and now we've learned 2 more generals have been forced out. Major General William Green, Jr., who served as the Chief of Chaplains, and General David Hodnick, commander of the Army Transformation and Training Command. Now the military is missing critical combat experience as the war with Iran enters week 6. And joining me now, retired U.S. Army Lieutenant General Russell Honore. General, good to see you again. I want to start, though, on something else. And you posted this on social media, specifically as it relates to this mission to rescue this fighter pilot who was shot down over Iran. And you make a direct connection between this mission and the rhetoric from the Secretary of Defense a few months ago about providing no quarter to U.S. enemies. How does one influence the other? If this service member or any other is captured by Iran?
Well, it's a direct relationship and a concern we had at the time the Secretary of Defense made that statement that we will give no quarter. Is a violation of our rules of war that we have trained our soldiers on. And it was practice when we shot the Iranian warship off the Indian Ocean. We gave no quarter. We did not provide assistance to the survivors. And the double strike on the small boats in the Caribbean gave no assistance by and large. And there was talk of a second strike. So the Secretary of Defense language and his rhetoric about giving no quarter would have direct impact on our airmen that's on the ground somewhere in Iran right now trying to survive. And if he's caught, if the Iranians were to use the Secretary of Defense rule, that aviator will end up being treated very bad or even killed on the spot, because that's the way that's translated, give no quarter to the injured or those who no longer can fight. So it's a direct relationship. I think the good news is that inside the formation of the military, people know better in these type of situations, and they won't necessarily execute what the Secretary is saying.
Yeah, but you could only imagine what those U.S. service members who are heading over to the region, who heard what the Secretary said, what they imagine the interpretation might be by the Iranians. Let me ask you about these 3 generals who have been pushed out by Secretary Hegseth. The Pentagon has not given an explicit reason for why they were fired. What do you make of the dismissals?
Well, there have been quite a 2 traditional as well as decisions about the going into boots on the ground in Iran that the Secretary, the Chief of Staff of the Army would have had some major input on. The boots on the ground decision, when and where. His job is to prepare. His job is to make sure all the air defenses that's been defending our allies are prepared. And sometime I've served on the Joint Chiefs of Staff as a 2-star general. The service chiefs do have a vote and try to influence the decisions made by the Secretary of Defense and by the President. And I sense with this Secretary of Defense, disagreement means dissent, and that if there's not good discussions on what decision is going to be made and how they're going to do it, then there's certainly no purpose. I think what he's looking for is yes people, loyalists who will do what he says and how he said do it, as opposed to following the customs and traditions of the military that we want to have active debate before we do something. I don't think he tolerates that. If you go question him on why did you take those officers off the promotion list, why are we changing the rank of the chaplains? Or maybe we ought to discuss this. He does not tolerate any discussion. He's got a big ego problem, and that could have long-standing impact to our military.
General Russell Honore, thank you so much for being with me this evening. Always good to see you.
Good evening. God bless America, and hopefully you find that pilot.
Indeed.